Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, you and I are diving into the global IT industry as it stands, well, right now in April 2025. And it's a landscape that feels both incredibly packed with opportunity and, frankly, a little rocky.
Rocky's a good word for it. There's definitely a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. Last year, 2024, the market for just IT services was over $1.3 trillion.
Incredible number.
And it's still projected to grow, right?
Yeah.
Fueled by things like digital transformation, that's almost baseline now,
Absolute.
and the big move to the cloud. Something like, what, 60% of enterprises are using hybrid cloud now?
That sounds about right. And then there's the absolute necessity of cybersecurity. That market alone is forecast, I think, around $210 billion for this year, 2025.
So the potential, I mean, it's clearly enormous.
Definitely. The fundamental drivers for IT growth, they're still very strong. Businesses always need more efficiency, better connections, stronger digital protection. These aren't just passing trends.
No, they're fundamental shifts, you're right. But then you can't ignore that feeling of unease, can you? The global economy feels a bit, I don't know, precarious. Inflation, geopolitical stuff, and that's hitting IT spending. It sounds like cost-cutting is a big priority for a lot of companies.
That's a really critical point.
Yeah.
When things feel uncertain economically, businesses get cautious. Big IT projects, they're often first on the list to be, reevaluated, maybe scaled back.
And that caution, it seems to ripple outwards.
It does. It creates a cascade effect through the whole industry.
And the most dramatic effect, I suppose, is the layoffs. The numbers are pretty staggering. I saw reports that in 2024, over 1,200 tech companies globally cut more than 260,000 jobs.
Wow. 260,000.
Yeah, that averages out to something like 700 people losing their jobs every single day.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Well, it's sobering, isn't it? It really brings home the human cost behind the headlines. It's not just stats, it's people's lives, their families.
Exactly. And it wasn't spread evenly either. The U.S. saw the most, over 191,000. Europe was around 45,000.
Okay.
And even India, a huge IT hub, the big tier one firms let go of about 30,000 people.
So what were the main reasons given for these cuts?
Well, the sources seem to point to two main things. First, a lot of companies just hired way too many people during the pandemic boom.
Right, the big surge in demand for digital everything.
Yeah. And when that initial urgency faded and the economy shifted, they were, well, overstaffed.
Makes sense. And the second reason?
Investor pressure. Lots of pressure on tech firms to show better profits, more efficiency, and, cutting jobs is often seen as a quick way to do that, unfortunately.
The quickest lever to pull, perhaps.
So if you were job hunting in IT right now, it sounds much harder than just a couple of years back.
The data definitely shows a more competitive market, yes.
Right.
Global IT unemployment, it climbed to 4.1% late last year. That's up from, 2.9% in 2022?
Yeah, 2.9%, so that's quite a jump.
It is. It shows a lot more people are out there looking for IT roles.
And it sounds like entry-level folks and maybe mid-career people were hit hardest.
That's generally true, yes. Those roles tend to be more vulnerable when companies tighten their belts or freeze hiring. Like, U.S. software developer job postings, down 30%. That's a big indicator.
30%. Wow. And the competition for the jobs that are open must be intense.
Yeah.
I read some roles are getting over 200 applicants.
Absolutely. 200 plus. It just shows how many skilled people are searching right now. You really need to stand out.
You really do. And it's not just a U.S. or Europe thing. India, too, right? You mentioned the layoffs, but even new grads are facing delays getting placed.
That's right. About 35%, a third of the IT recruits from the 2024 batch were reportedly still waiting for job placements. That's unusual for India's normally very active hiring market.
Yeah, that signals a real shift. Maybe companies are being pickier, slowing down on hiring less experienced people.
That seems likely, a change in the usual hiring patterns.
And Europe, similar story.
Pretty much. Germany and the UK saw about a 15% drop in IT vacancies reported. So yeah, it looks like a fairly widespread slowdown in hiring across the major regions.
Okay, so the economic climate is definitely casting a shadow.
That's the key takeaway, yes.
Yeah.
The tangible, widespread impact.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, as if that wasn't enough complexity, we have AI, artificial intelligence. It feels like this huge wild card.
Oh, absolutely. The speed of AI adoption is, it's transformative. And it creates this really interesting kind of paradoxical situation in the job market.
Okay, paradox. Let's unpack that. Because one side is AI is amazing for efficiency, automating routine tasks. which obviously makes people worry about, job losses.
Precisely. AI can increasingly handle things like basic coding, data entry, maybe some tech support tasks. So the concern about job displacement is valid, especially for roles heavy on repetitive stuff.
We're seeing a shift away from just coding being the entry point.
Yeah, I think so. It's becoming more about understanding how to use AI tools effectively.
Okay. But then the other side of the paradox. We keep hearing about massive skill shortages. Companies desperately needing people skilled in AI itself or cybersecurity, cloud computing.
Exactly. That's the other edge of the sword. AI might automate some tasks, but it creates this huge need for people who can build, manage, implement, and secure these AI systems.
And the stat was something like 87% of IT leaders are struggling to find people with those skills.
A staggering 87%. Yes.
Yeah.
It perfectly highlights that critical growing skills gap.
So it's less about fewer jobs overall and more a massive reshuffle.
Yeah.
Different types of jobs, different skills needed.
That's exactly it. That's the heart of the transformation. It's not just job cuts. It's a fundamental evolution of what skills are valuable in IT.
Okay, so for everyone listening, the mission for us in this deep dive is to really get a solid handle on this situation. The challenges, sure, but also the opportunities.
Right.
We need to understand how AI is really impacting jobs both ways. And maybe most importantly, figure out some practical, actionable things you can do to stay competitive, maybe even thrive.
Absolutely. Let's get past the scary headlines and look at the shifts in skills that AI is driving. That's where the real story is.
Great. So let's dig into that AI impact and the strategies.
Let's do it.
So as we kind of start to wrap this up, let's circle back to that core tension we talked about at the start. On one hand, yeah, the IT industry in 2025 has real challenges. Those 2024 layoff numbers, 260,000 jobs gone, and the unemployment rate hitting 4.1%, it shows a sector dealing with real pressure. Economic headwinds, AI's rise.
That's right. The economic uncertainty started it, and now AI adds this whole other layer of disruption and opportunity.
Exactly. Opportunity. Because it's not all doom and gloom, is it? We're seeing huge growth potential in those key areas. AI itself, cybersecurity, cloud. It's definitely a mixed bag.
Precisely. The industry isn't just shrinking, it's changing shape. And where we see growth, that tells us where future demand is heading.
And AI really is that double-edged sword we mentioned. One edge, automating tasks, especially maybe more basic programming. We heard something like 25% of the 24 layoffs targeted those kinds of roles.
Yeah, that seems plausible. We see big names like Google, Meta using AI to streamline things. And those outsourcing firms in India reportedly cut entry-level hiring by around 10%, citing AI efficiencies.
Right. Concrete examples of AI impacting specific jobs. Automating repetitive tasks is getting easier.
It forces a rethink, especially for entry-level skills.
But the other edge, this booming demand for really specialized roles needed to build and run this AI future.
Absolutely.
AI specialists, machine learning engineers, data scientists, and the salaries.
Yeah.
U.S. figures are like $120,000 up to $270,000.
Yeah, impressive ranges. And that's before you even look at cybersecurity. Information security analysts projected growth of 32% by 2033.
32%, that's massive.
It is. Plus, cloud architects, DevOps engineers, the people bridging development and operations demand was up 18% just last year. Shows where the investment is going.
Definitely. And you mentioned new industry-specific AI roles starting to pop up, like in healthcare finance.
We're starting to see that, yes. As AI gets applied to more complex sector-specific problems, you need people with that combined expertise.
Which all points to this really critical skill shift happening right now. Just knowing how to code isn't enough anymore, is it?
Absolutely not. You need to know how to integrate AI, you need cloud fluency, maybe even cross-disciplinary knowledge, tech, plus business understanding.
And apparently 28% of IT job listings last year already wanted some kind of AI expertise.
It's becoming mainstream quickly.
And it's not just the hard tech skills, right? The soft skills, communication, problem-solving, collaboration seem even more important now.
That's a vital point. As AI handles routine bits, the uniquely human skills working together, thinking critically, explaining complex stuff, clearly become premium skills.
Especially explaining tech to non-tech people.
Hugely important. And that prediction, 50% of current IT skills might be obsolete by 2028, that really underlines the urgency to adapt.
Okay, 50%. Wow. So for our listeners trying to navigate this, what are some concrete proactive steps they can take right now?
Right. The absolute key is being proactive. Embrace continuous learning. That's number one, continuous learning.
Makes sense.
Get those industry certifications, AWS, CISSP, Google Cloud, things like that. Use online platforms, Coursera, Pluralsight, Udemy to pick up new skills, especially in hot areas like, say, TensorFlow or PyTorch if you're looking at AI dev roles.
And does it actually help? Did people who upskilled see better prospects?
They did. Reports suggest around 60% of IT pros who actively upskilled in 2024 felt it improved their job situation.
Okay, so staying current is non-negotiable. What else?
Second, specialization. Focus on high-growth areas like AI or cybersecurity, and maybe think about the ethical side too. That's growing.
Right, responsible AI.
Exactly. Or combine tech skills with industry knowledge, fintech, health tech. Become a specialist. We saw specialized roles had about 25% fewer layoffs last year than generalist ones.
So finding your niche gives you an edge.
Got it.
What's third?
Third, don't forget those soft skills. We keep mentioning them because they're crucial. Things like Toastmasters can actually help with communication, leadership, essential stuff.
Absolutely. Being the tech person who can actually explain things clearly is invaluable.
Fourth, hands-on experience. This is huge. Contribute to open source on GitHub, do some freelancing on Upwork, build your own projects.
Show, don't just tell.
Precisely. Apparently, 70% of IT hires in 2024 had portfolios showing practical work.
Okay, portfolio building. Good tip. Fifth.
Fifth, strategic networking. Use LinkedIn actively. Go to meetups, conferences like CES, build connections, find mentors. It makes a difference. Referrals are still huge in hiring. Maybe 55% of hires last year came that way.
Wow, over half through referrals. So networking really pays off.
It often does. And finally, number 6, really focus on cybersecurity and ethics. Cybercrime costs trillions. AI privacy is a huge concern. Expertise here is gold.
And compliance roles are going faster.
It's about 20% faster than general IT roles, yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing how to build secure systems and deploy AI responsibly is a major advantage.
Okay, those are 6 really solid strategies. Now,
Yeah.
what about people thinking of just leaving IT altogether? Maybe after a layoff, it feels tempting.
Understandable, but I'd caution against it, generally. While it feels tough now, the long-term outlook for IT is still very strong. We're talking 400,000 projected annual openings through 2033.
500,000 a year.
Yeah. And high-growth roles like AI engineering growing maybe 15%. Plus, the salaries are still much better than many other fields. Switching careers often means starting over, losing valuable expertise and income.
That's a very pragmatic point.
Yeah.
Don't throw away years of valuable skill development.
Exactly. But we do need to talk about burnout. It's real. 50% of IT workers reported more stress last year. That's significant.
Have them. Wow.
So if you're feeling that, maybe don't ditch tech entirely. Think about pivoting within tech, maybe consulting, product management, joining a startup.
So change the role or the environment, not necessarily the whole industry.
Precisely. Leverage your existing skills, but find a better fit, maybe less stress, more engagement.
Okay, so the big message really seems to be adapt, keep learning, be proactive.
That's it. Upskill in those high-demand areas. That gives you leverage. Remember, even with layoffs, 90% of IT managers say they still struggle to find qualified talent.
That's a crucial point. The talent shortage is still real in key areas.
Absolutely. So these challenges, they're actually opportunities for people who are resilient and willing to evolve.
Well, this has been incredibly helpful, a really insightful deep dive into a, let's say, dynamic industry right now. Thanks for breaking it all down and offering such practical advice.
My pleasure. It's definitely a fascinating time in IT. Staying informed and adaptable really is the name of the game.
Couldn't agree more. And on that note, here's a final thought for everyone listening to mull over. Thinking about how fast AI is moving. What completely new IT jobs might exist in, say, 5 or 10 years that we can't even imagine today? And what core skills, tech or maybe even non-tech, might be essential to get ready for those unknown possibilities? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.